Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
A guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see there, Putin's the lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
No, Alex, for the last time, I cannot put you on the nice list. Matthias is on it. I already see him in chat. He's being lovely. Hello, Matthias. And welcome, especially you, Matthias. I'll see you. To round 6 of Monza. Of course, I am Josh, joined by the one who's on the naughty list over there, trying to impersonate Santa. That'll be Alex Heron. A little devious, but we're at the Temple of Speed today for a good portion of racing. You thought I couldn't look any stupider with the blonde hair. I've changed all your minds, hopefully.
I think you look great, mate.
Thank you.
Do you want to hear my Santa impression?
Absolutely.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
I really thought you was going to start singing Supermax and I would have come through the monitor and started like chasing you down.
I don't know what that is.
Oh yeah, good answer. We'll keep
I've
it
never
that way.
I've never sung that before.
We need Super Rehards. That's the song we need here at F3 because my word has he had a bit of good form recently.
Oh.
But of course, we're here at Monza, the Temple of Speed, home of Ferrari. Passionate, beautiful, lovely. A couple of people have noticed the outfit. I do have the hat and I do have the belt on, but you can't quite see it. But enough of me being my part-time job as an elf. And let's have a little look at this driver standings. So we see Lillian picking up, well, three on the bounce. Can we make it 4?
Talking of Supermax, 3 wins in a row from Hungary to Austria. Qatar, they had a good race as well. They actually probably should have put it on pole in Qatar, but a couple of missed fastest lap attempts due to track invalidations. And then obviously Mr. Leo Lund missed out on that podium finish in Austria, which meant his 100% podium record is gone for this season. He needs to bounce back today in Monza, especially as he's a Ferrari driver. The Tifosi will not want a loss. They will want a win. I'm
not putting pressure on Leo or Camille, but I'm expecting him to pull something out the bag here as a Ferrari fan. I want to see that distance to the Alpine team closed up from 33 points back to more of a traditional point, I want to say. Maybe, a couple points ahead, I would take. But yeah, unfortunately, we do have some news. Jarno is not driving in this split. He's currently filming the new Hobbit film in New Zealand, so he's unavailable to race. I promise you, he's not in the North Pole making toys for us at the minute.
No, I haven't employed him.
Well, you're not Santa, mate. We've been going.
What do you
through this,
mean?
and it's why you're on the naughty list.
I thought I could be.
No.
No, everyone else dresses up as Santa.
No.
You haven't mentioned my shirt yet.
Yeah, no, and I don't want to because it's.
This is a funny bit, everyone. So this is one for the older audience. This is a tree. It's got a guitar, as you can see, and it says Spruce. It's not that side. It's that side. It says Spruce Springsteen, as in a reference to Bruce Springsteen, the guitarist, also singer, but he's a tree because it's Christmas.
You're something, mate. You're something. It's a good job we get on, isn't it? But
isn't it just? Could you imagine?
Which could be a little bit of a problem to get on. Is this track? Of course, you got the 11 turns, very fast, very quick. I would say the DRS is going to be very important, and also the slipstream during this qualifying session, trying to maximise the utmost potential out of it. But I do have this slightly harrowing feeling that we might not be able to see any of the DRS here in this qualifying session, as it is full wet.
Full wet.
Full wet.
Full wet, everybody. Well, now, I do remember pulling back through the history of Formula 1 The last time we had a full wet qualifying session around Monza was the 2017 Italian Grand Prix. That was the afternoon that ended with Lewis Hamilton taking a record number of pole positions, and also Lance Stroll was on the front row in a Williams. That was how the 2017 qualifying was. Can we see another miracle here today?
So what you're saying right now, Matthew Adler and Matt Williams is prime for P2. Is that? I just want to clarify.
That's what I'm saying.
Matthew Adler, Lance Stroll.
I think he's better than Lance Stroll.
That's a very bold statement, but we'll have to wait and see whether Matthew Adler is in fact better than Lance Stroll. Feel free to let us know in the chat if you think any of these drivers are better than Lance Stroll, who are currently out here. Of course, we would normally have a 420, but due to it being this time of the year, everyone's very busy, everyone's very time constrained, and everyone's got family matters to deal with. So we do only have the 16 out here for today. But I feel like that's going to benefit the drivers who are here today, not only in the sense that they're able to score points and advance themselves through the championship, but also on a level where, you know, realistically, they're going to be less cars on track. It's going to help them out in that sort of manner as well, which will definitely be something that a lot of these drivers are going to be looking forward to having, you know, just a little bit less traffic, because we know it can be a bit of a problem around here.
It can be a bit from, obviously, traffic was actually so much a problem this year. They changed the rules where you had to match a certain delta, but somehow F1 drivers managed to still mess up that by creating another problem with it. But here in the qualifying session, as you mentioned, Slipstream normally and DRS is normally the king around Monza, but it'll be very interesting to see because obviously this is a wet session. We know it's quite easy to overtake around here with the DRS zones and with the long straights and the braking zones. But how are people going to be setting their setup more towards a wet setup to try and get the best in pole, or are we going to see some people running a drier setup and struggle more in qualifying but be able to race in the race? Because we don't know what the race is going to be like. It may be full wet in the race as well. Obviously, the last time we had a full wet race in Monza was 2008, where Toro Rosso and Sebastian Vettel took his first victory in Formula One.
Yeah. Poor Rookie. I wonder whatever happened to his career.
I don't know.
We do have Andres Lopez on a lap here in this McLaren, and you can just see by the amount of spray which is coming off the back of that car. This is certainly a wet track, and I don't feel like we're going to get any of the E-Series moments we've had. It comes to mind around Monaco. I had a great joy of commentating that, where they used the intermediates in heavy wet conditions, and it was quicker. Don't feel like that one's going to work out around Monza, but Andres Lopez here is going to be looking to try and set the standard on this lap, and it looks pretty well knitted together so far. But of course, when these wet tyres go over the rain and through the puddles, they chuck the water back up and spreads it off the racing line. So we can expect these lap times to gradually fall away, a bit like track evolution, but I feel like it's going to become at a quicker and quicker rate, and we might even start seeing some intermediate runs towards the end of the qualifying. And perhaps the intermediates might even be quicker towards the end of the qualifying, as we see the Aston Martin slightly ahead of Andres, just sliding out the final corner of Parabolica as Lopez comes across the line with a 129.9.
29.9. That's well. 29.8 for Bogdan, so Bogdan already beats it. You know what? I'm going to say something crazy here.
Yeah.
I think Bogdan's going to surprise us in this session. I think top 4 start for Bogdan in this qualifying session.
Okay, I see where you're coming from there. That's a bit bold.
It's,
but I see where you're coming from. I can visualize it.
He's got some talent, this kid. He's got some talent, I tell you.
He's going to go fast. So is Camille.
He's going to go right to the very top.
He's going to go.
He's going to go right to the very top.
I mean, to be quite honest, he might do. He might do if he's able to string a few consistent performances together. It could very well be looking at mid F1 24. It could be looking to try and knock on the door of challengers. But it's all about consistency here at PSGL. It's all about consistency within the league. And someone who's had such a great start to the season, but recently started just to fall off is, of course, half of the Tifosi fan-loving car here of Camille, who puts it so far a provisional pole by 0.3 of a second. But
crowd goes wild.
You can hear him. Woo! Absolutely, they're going nuts. They're loving their life, and Lillian as well. 5 temps. Honestly, it's just the grip Lillian has. It's out of this world.
It's crazy.
It's phenomenal. But yeah, Camille had such a great run, especially during the first tenure of this championship so far, or this season, I should say, to really try and move themselves through the grid, pole position after pole position after pole position. But recently, it's just sort of dissipated a little bit, and the likes of Lillian and Leo and Rehards have all started to chip their names in here and there, and just slowly started to work themselves up all the way through. And, I mean, you saw it in the championship standings, the consistency that these drivers are all able to bring to the table. If you have 1 or 2 off weeks, you're putting a huge risk to your championship's, a charge. And here in F3, the consistency factor is so massive because all the drivers are always on the top of their performance, and they're always doing, out of this world. I do just want to rephrase that to Carlson. Jarno's currently filming the new Hobbit movie in New Zealand, so he's unfortunately unable to join us. But he has,
weird casting.
Yeah,
Weird casting.
Nathan Richards does say that Rehards is practically Jarno Otmir in disguise. So
They're the same driver.
I mean, we saw the performances Rehards has put.
Have you ever seen them in the same room together?
I've not even seen them in the same
I
lobby.
don't think so.
No.
What can you say? But as we're going to mention quickly here in qualifying, you might see these drivers go around for a couple of laps, because normally what we see in qualifying is you go out on a set of soft tyres, you do your 1 lap, and then you come back in on a low fuel. But because of the wet conditions and the track is improving every single time you do a lap, it's best to fill your car up with a bit more fuel, do probably 4 laps. You can charge your ERS on a few laps and then go again, and that is the best way to do it in a wet session. As Lillian is going for their 2nd flying lap attempt there, you saw the light flashing on the back. That's not a brake light, because there's no point in brake lights in Formula 1, because it just wouldn't matter. But that is just the rain light showing that it's raining. It allows the car behind you to see you better due to the amount of spray that these cars lift off.
And sometimes it's not even enough, is it?
Nope.
You will still struggle to see sometimes, but Lillian here looking to get this lap hooked up well. Preferably out the gravel pit, but no invalidation. But Lillian decides there to back off. Probably
makes sense.
The better reason, as I believe that is Camille who's going past, who's on a lap. Oh, is it? Yeah, someone's just jumped into the top 5 there. I think that was...
It was Zelenkovic, sorry.
In the other, honestly, it's like
I know, in the other Mercedes. And again, the Mercedes showing that they've got pace around here. Unfortunately, at the moment, the Ferrari's not showing the same amount of pace.
Give it, yeah, give it 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
Are you gonna let them cook? Are we letting them cook?
We're letting them cook. We're letting them chef up.
All right, come on. It's simmering. It's simmering.
It's coming to a boil. It's not quite there yet, but it's almost there.
It's just keep it on the hob.
Look, purple sector 3 for Camille. Attempt improvement. Good. It's going to get there. Just trust.
And Leo Lund coming across the line now.
No, he's not. He's. This isn't a great start for the Tifosi, but I'm hopeful they'll be able to bounce themselves back. Something what Race Clutch are trying to do here. Rehards there. 7 attempts up on this lap.
Ooh.
Horrible moment through Parabolic.
He's giving it up. Not surprised. I would have given it up after that. I would have had to get a new pair of trousers after that kind of snap on your car. But again, some of these guys will be going to pits. Maybe they're thinking maybe the track's okay for Inters now.
Surely not. I mean, I suppose we'll just have to wait and see, because the visualization of the weather in this game isn't always the greatest.
No.
I mean, we've seen it dry up in over 1 or 2 laps.
Yeah,
all the water's just disappeared. I suppose for drivers, their engineers, their partners, they're all going to be watching and sort of studying this track throughout, this course of a qualifying, and perhaps even the course of a race, to try and get a further understanding of what sort of conditions, is suiting the tyres.
There's a new entry at number 4. Matthew Adler has put himself into the top 4. Of course, Williams' best qualifying around here is probably a pole position. But their most recent best qualifying was on the front row with Lance Stroll.
With Lance Stroll or as Lance Stroll?
Well, we're all Lance Stroll, really, aren't we? Let's be honest.
I wish I was Lance Stroll.
I wish too, because I'd have a lot of money and I'd have a Formula 1 seat.
I wouldn't be drifting the AlphaTauri through the exit of Ascari there like Lefted was. Lefted, of course, Richie says every single week in this chat here on YouTube, he should be in F2.
Well, he hasn't won a race yet.
Exactly. I'm not saying I'm a doubter or I'm a hater, but I feel like he's just got that little bit more left to show. And when he gets that sorted and when he gets that consistency nailed down, I think then we can start talking about perhaps it could be an opportunity for Lefty to really try and
Don't-
prove himself in the higher divisions.
Don't fly too close to the sun, or your wings might get burnt. As Martin Brundle once said.
Surely at Monza you'd want your wings burned. Lower downforce, job done. Brilliant.
Well, again, but I don't know what setups these guys are running. It's really interesting because again, if they're running higher downforce, it's going to really stuck in the race, but it's going to be great in qualifying. But if they're not,
Tony Roche.
Jesus.
My goodness.
Tony, my boy, that was a ricochet effect right there. Well, hey, he's gonna. That was awful. Sorry. He's going through the final corner now, and I'm sure he's backed out of the lap. Yeah, I assume that would make sense. No one's trying the inters yet.
Yeah.
Mr. Bogdan's on an outlap. He's going for another attempt. Also, one of the Ferraris of Mr. Leo Lund. Again, let's have a quick chat about Leo. Needs to improve his qualifying performance, doesn't he?
Yes.
He's fantastic in race pace. He always has been. Race trim is probably his best thing. He's been on the podium, 4 times out of 5 that he's raced this season. The only one he didn't get on the podium was Austria, where he finished 4th, and he was very close to a podium finish anyway. But the reason why, he has to recover every race he drives. Every race he drives, he's in a recovery drive to get back to the front. So if he can nail that qualifying, even if he can start, say, a 4th or a 5th, it's much better than starting, say, averagely around 10th, 11th, like 8th place around there. So let's see what he can do on this lap. Should we stay with him? Let's ride on board with Leo.
Absolutely. Let's have a little on board here, as we're going to hear that Ferrari engine squealing down the straight. There's a couple sounds I'd prefer to hear rather than a Ferrari engine squealing its way to high heavens. But you can see how tentative he's going to be in 3rd gear through those first 2 corners. Early upshift into 4th there as well before he ends up sweeping it through this long right-hander, using the inside curve there as well to try and shorten the distance to the next braking zone. Every millimetre helps when he's trying to cut down the track distance. It'll slowly, just gradually keep bumping up his lap time as he handles the chicane beautifully before he ends up trying to chuck it here into Les Mode 1. Is the car going to stick? It seems alright so far.
Yep.
A little wheel spin on the exit there, very tentative on the throttle still. You can hear how slowly the revs build up, and then they immediately jump because of a wheel spin. But Leo, so far, Alex, it's not looking bad at all.
Not looking bad at all. It's a lot of wheel spin on his car. I'm not surprised considering the conditions. So through our famous corners here, and he's still looking pretty good in front of the Tifosi grandstand as he almost has a huge snap there on the exit of the corner, but he's still going. It's not going to affect his lap too much as we now have a 1 corner to go. And let's see if he can pull it off. He's got to really be gentle applying the throttle here because he can't afford to lose it all on the final corner. And he's going to dive into the pits. He says that's not good enough. And he comes back into the pits. Maybe he feels the inters are ready, or maybe he wants to just go again.
I feel like he's just going to want to go again. We know what Leo's like. He's definitely one of the perfectionists out there who tries everything in his power to sort of minimise even the slightest marginal things. If he ends up missing apex by a couple centimetres, he's not happy. He wants to go again. He wants to try again. He wants to redo it and give it another go. As Thomas Labanon hops up into P2 there.
What
Great
a lap.
spot there. But we do also have Lillian on the lap here. And now we know Lillian's been a bit of a speed demon when it comes to qualifying and race pace through the last recent couple of races. Obviously, the 3 wins on the trot is a huge indicator for that, but the race pace and the ability to get overtakes done during the race as well, let alone qualifying performances on top of that all as well. Lillian's definitely one to watch out for here.
Yeah, definitely. Lillian's probably, odds-on favourite. Lillian's probably the odds-on favourite to win this race. But if it's wet, anything can happen. If it's dry, also, it's going to be a completely different kind of race to drive. But a purple middle sector there for Lillian, and they're looking to just to extend their advantage through the Ascari chicane. Not looking to have any snap. Look at the grip that Alpine has. It's almost ridiculous how much grip it has. Now through the final corner we go, the famous corner, the Parabolica.
Well, it's not
through the
Parabolica
final
anymore,
corner.
is it?
It's still the Parabolica
It's
to me.
Parabolica in my heart, but
It's officially the Parabolica, as we all know. Lillian towards the line now is going to be improving on the time. No. Stays 29-0. And there's people that can beat it. Also, just want to let you know, Bogdan did go 4th fastest. He's in the top 4.
I did notice, but I just want to point out, I'm quickly switching between the cameras just to try and get... It looks like the rating's coming down, if not heavier.
Yeah, it does.
The
You can
spray's
see
more.
the
The fog
spray
is
is
coming in as well. Very
Oh.
interesting. I'm sure the drivers are not going to be a fan of this one. But
it's
fingers
the
crossed.
last thing Leo needs.
Fingers crossed they're okay. But the wheel's lying to us. It's saying pit limiter, but this is clearly not the pit limiter.
No, and if he's got heavier, that is the last thing Leo needs down in 13th. He can't afford to be starting this race in 13th. Camille can't be affording to start this race in 9th.
Rehards can't be afforded to start it in 15th. He's on an invalidated lap as well, so I sure hope he's been able to recharge it from the invalidation and where it took place to try and have another go at this. Just look at the rain. That's so much
bad.
more worse than when we started.
Yeah, I think this could be, unless someone's got a miracle in them, and I think the Tifosi are going to be hoping on a miracle now to try and get themselves anywhere further. But you can see that they are really struggling in this wet condition now. The rain has worsened here at Monza. So let's see what Rahaz can do on his lap. Into turn 1 now. It's a tricky corner in the dry. It's even trickier in the wet. It's so hard to slow down to make it in a straight line, and especially not to lock up the tyres in this year's game. So through the right-hander now, flat in the wet and in the dry, to be honest with you. So much bravery these drivers have. Into the first sector. What are we looking at sector times? Is it an improvement?
0.001 down. Not losing time in that first sector, but I feel like a lot of the time, which can be lost throughout this lap, if the rain has increased, is going to be through the second sector. You got both the Lesmos, which are very technical but fast corners. You got the camber. You're going to have to run on the curbs and on the paint in order to try and maximize the track width as well. That is where the drivers will be losing traction more than usual on the normal asphalt that the tyres are used to running on. But he's ended up making an improvement. He's up by a tenth.
He's up by a 10th. It's not going to be too much improvement. Hopefully, he's got all that final sector to improve. And again, he's so slippery on the exit of that corner. It's such a slippery corner that it's just so little grip outside of the exit corner. And now through the parabolica, can he get himself improved? His teammate currently sits on provisional pole. Rahaz would like to be up there with the teammate, and I think they might have left it too late unless they've got a banging final sector. And it's only 14th fastest for Rahaz. And it's a 1:30.0. Left to finish their lap. They're only 7th fastest. Look at the rain coming down here on our camera. It is absolutely... This is torrential conditions for the drivers right now. As Camille is stuck in traffic. There's traffic for everyone right now. There's a yellow flag up ahead for the Williams. Leo is literally drifting his Ferrari through the final corner. There is no improvement going on through the grid. And I think that will be the end of qualifying because there's yellow flags. There's people getting slow. Lillian is the only one to cross the line, but even Lillian's into the pits. That, I think, ladies and gentlemen, is your top 10 unless anyone can improve. We've got anyone improving. What is Slavenkovic doing in the middle sector?
He's 1 second off his pace. The rain has come down at a horrible time for these drivers to try and get any sort of improvement. We've got a backwards Haas there of, I believe, Tony Roche. I mean, realistically, if we're going to be looking at this sort of condition for the race, it's going to be so tricky for these drivers to pinpoint that braking zone for turn 1. It's difficult anyway. But I feel like it's just going to get even worse as Andres Lopez comes through a final corner. He's invalidated as well. And it's just one of those things which is slowly incremented. And it's probably creeped up on a lot of the drivers. That the conditions have worsened. So that, they're just having to call it in the pits. And that's going to be it. I feel sorry for the pit crew. They're still in T-shirts. Yeah,
this is horrible conditions. It's genuinely dreadful in terms of rain. But once again, Lillian is on pole. Not by a lot, I must say. Thomas got his lap in at the right time. He was in there at the right place, right time, and literally missed out on pole. If he'd just improved slightly on that last lap, he would have been on pole because Lillian wouldn't have been able to improve. And both Mercedes, 3rd and 4th, here at the starting 11. And the worst thing for the Tifosi, and Josh, you might want to cover your eyes when I tell you this one. Camille in 9th, Leo Lund in 13th.
You're breaking my heart here. Be honest, Alex. That's all I wanted. Tifosi to be happy. Ferrari, a great result.
It's gonna be a miracle. From there.
It is sim racing at the end of the day. Anything can happen. And I'll tell you what. You said you had a beautiful segue.
I do. You know what?
Do you want to go?
You know what, Josh?
Yes.
You know what, Josh?
Go on, man.
You know what Santa delivers his presents in?
A sleigh.
But you know what he has in his sleigh? And it's a GT Omega gaming chair.
I'm just glad we're indoors, to be honest, mate, because that looked like it was raining cats and dogs out there.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be outside.
No, absolutely not. But we're going to have to wait and see what the conditions are for the race, because that's what I'm more than worried about. Because if we don't have a DRS, which is so crucial for these modern-day cars to get overtakes, we could be in for definitely an uphill battle of the race, and it'll be very difficult for the cars to try and pick their way through the field if they've had such poor qualifying.
Well, not just pick their way through the field, could be picking their way through debris, depending on how that turn 1 goes. If it is full wet like we were seeing there, like I think genuinely, if that was real life, we wouldn't be racing in those conditions. That was how heavy that rain was.
Yeah, because we're still be on intermediates. But
exactly.
I do have a little sneak peek. Do you want me to push a button?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. It's dry. It's dry.
It's sunny day here.
We're back to normal racing.
And there's no clouds in the sky either, so there'd be no surprise rain later in the race by the looks of it. I feel like we're going to be all good.
Your words, mate, after that one.
Never. But we already have our 5 red lights here for Monza, and the Italian Grand Prix is underway here in PSGL. And we get a good start from our front row as Lilian gets a decent launch on those soft tyres and covers off Slavenkovic, who's got an absolute banging start, and he's up into 2nd place and into turn 1. Is everyone going to keep it nice and clean? And to be fair to everyone, we've got a yellow flag in sector 1, and that's unfortunately Andreas Lopez. Leo Luntz had a tragic start. He's down to 17th. He's right at the back of the grid. But Slavenkovic got a great start there, and is already ahead of Thomas, and also unfortunately for Bogdan, he's fallen down to 7th at the start. He's not on a good start, but a lot of these guys on different tyres, softs, mediums and hards, all in effect, as Camille is already up into 4th. The Tifosi are loving this one. Camille, what a great start.
Yeah, fantastic start from Camille. I do believe the soft tyres helped him get a great launch off the start line, but honestly, very impressive start from Timo Zelenkovic on the medium compound, being able to get the traction down and getting the rubber applied to the circuit nice and efficiently in order to try and wiggle his way through. And now he'll be on the hunt to really try and put a bit of pressure on Lilian. We've seen this time and time again. Lilian takes the race lead, takes the, the pace that Lilian wants to. It isn't necessarily peer pressured into it too much, into burning out the tyres, and can kind of cruise around at their pace. Normally that's because Rehards is up in the mix at the front as well, playing around with a little bit of strategy, kind of just off-putting some of the other drivers, but Rehards isn't there this week. He's finding himself in P11 at the minute, as we've got a beautiful battle going on behind with Tony Roche, lefted, and Thomas Laminen. As Laminen's shown the outside, that'll come back to the inside. So lefted's made the move, but Thomas Laminen still fighting alongside Tony Roche, but Roche's able to get the inside line, and Laminen's just going to have to wait his turn here to try and get another move down. Probably down into turn 1, I would recommend.
I think that's showing, the difference in grip, but also I think the difference in setup. I think our Red Bull here may have worked out why he was so good in qualifying. He may be running a lot more downforce than everyone else, because he looks so slow down the main straight. And obviously in Monza, if you're very slow, you're going to get overtaken very quickly. And Matthew Adler's now got in front of Rahard. These hard runners are really struggling at the start of this race. I know the hard tyres aren't great on warm-up, but this is a bit risky.
Yeah, and you're going to have to start thinking as well, did Mercedes play a blinder of a strategy to split their cars, one on the medium, one on the hard, just so they can kind of get a bit more of a better understanding if Bogdan's going to call it into the pits? Is he going to stretch out those hard tyres to go onto the one-stop on the soft compound? Or is even Timo going to try and stretch out the mediums to make it work on a one-stop to soft tyres?
Well, Timo is right there.
Yeah, there's just so much which can change, but Timo Zelenkovic here, fastest laps coming in now. This is where the slipstream is going to be useful. And this is where we're going to see Timo move it to the inside. Tony Roche in the background moving it to the inside there as well. We're going to see some tandem movements going down into turn 1. No doubt about that. It's whether all of them can keep the moves clean. As Roche is still there, right on the inside of lefted. It's going to have to be a brave move around the outside if he's unable to. It's squeeze him going up here into this. I mean, it's a horribly awkward left-hander to this chicane, isn't it?
It's really horrible, and to be honest with you, 2 don't go into 1 in that corner. We've seen it many times before. It is possible, but it doesn't work out very often. But talk about a story here. Slavenkovic leading here in Monza for Mercedes, who have looked good at certain parts in this year, but it is pleasure to see them leading a Grand Prix. Lilian has work to do this race. I don't think it's going to be as simple as Lilian was expecting. Not going for the overtake there into the Ascari chicane. The main reason, of course, is they will want DRS down the back straight. But Lillian's got to be careful here. Camille is right in the hunt, and in front of the Tifosi, they will be expecting a grandstand move down the pit straight. Are we going to get one? As we've got a yellow flag in the background, and that's the other Red Bull of Marquis, I think is in the background. But here we go. Down the pit straight now. DRS is enabled for our lovely Ferrari that we're riding on board with. And Lillian's got DRS as well, but not close enough to Slavenkovic. I think backing off a bit, not going for the move, as we have someone diving into the pits and retiring from the race. It's not been a good day for the Red Bull driver, as we have our first retirement on lap 4. We're down to 16, as we are now... Camille is still running in third, having a good race at the moment, just sticking with the front two, but not going for the move as Rahaz gets in front of Bogdan. Bogdan's got to play the long game here, and he can't be affording to defend moves like that, because that is going to really cost him.
Yeah, and you see there, Sixton, absolutely no wash of a driver either. A very talented driver in AlphaTauri who's been slotting in there for today. As Matthew Adler also tries to make the move, but Bogdan, he's not having any of that. He'll take a lovely little switch back here before arriving to the Ascari chicane, and I'm sure that little dosage of DRS is going to help him absolutely miles through here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, for Bogdan, it's going to be a bit of frustration, to be honest with you, because obviously he qualified really well. He's now down into 11th place. He's out of the top 10, but he's got to play the long game. He's on hard tyres. This is how they want to play it. He'll be upset that he didn't also get the preferred, medium strategy, but I suppose didn't get the preferred qualifying position, so you have to go on the different strategy. Mercedes like to split their strategy. We've seen it many times before, as Tony Richet gets in front of Jane for 4th place.
Yeah, once again, Jane went for an audacious move into parabolic, but Tony O'Shea swipes back almost immediately, getting him down the main straight. And then that's going to, of course, put Jane at a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to trying to fend off the rest of the field behind. Obviously, you got Thomas Laminen left and their teammate Nelson Alves as well. And, of course, Rihard's currently in P9, but looking to climb his way back up through the field. But I must say, Thomas is doing a fantastic job in that Red Bull of P6 on the hard tyre. Not losing pace to these front runners. He's definitely one to watch when it comes to the pit stop timing.
Yeah, it's interesting because all the other hard tyres have sort of fed back in towards the the lower echelons of the grid. But he's still sitting in 6th place within the DRS slipstream. Of course, he didn't get the best start. He was on the front row, but again, on hard tyres, he's one to look out for at the end of the race. I imagine he's going to go for the 1 stop, but will it be faster than the 2-stop strategy we see? I don't know if we're going to see any 2-stop strategies. It's risky, but you do make a lot of time up around here at Monza.
Absolutely. It's all about that tyre grip, and it's also about being able to sieve your way through the field on fresher compounded tyres. Overtaking here, although it's easier than some other tracks, it's still not the easiest out there. You will struggle to try and get a great run occasionally through that middle sector. Just the slightest wobble of a car can put you back 2, 3, 4 tenths because of the amount of braking zones on the circuit. When it comes to it, there's very few hard braking points where you can try and gain time on that, more rubbered in time, a grippier tyre, and being able to try and make those positions. So you have to rely on the car and the downforce and being able to chuck those fresh tyres in and expect them to grip, as Timo Zelenkovic isn't looking to let that move go easily. Had a little look to the inside, just warning Lillian, he's still there on those medium compounds. He's still got the grip and he's more than willing to try and make a move somewhere down the line. But again, just sitting back, once again, single file, trying not to lose any more time to the cars behind, siphoning the way through this lap. And, I mean, lap 6 out of 27, Monza's another quick one. It'll come at you and you won't realise how long's left in the race until you look up in the left-hand count. But I'm sure the engineers are reminding these drivers it's only the start of the race. There's still a lot more to be lost and there's still a lot more to be gained just from racing your own style, taking your time, picking your way through correct moments, and just being patient with it as a whole.
Yeah, this race is far from over yet. We are not even anywhere near half race distance yet. We've got about 20 laps to go when they cross the line. Slavenkovic will have the opportunity to go back past Lillian, who did take the lead on that last lap. You're going to see this a lot, obviously switching positions, you're going to expect that. Interesting to see how long the soft tyres will go in this race, because at the moment you see Rahad is actually falling back here and is now down into 13th place. He's actually behind some of the hard runners.
Yeah, I mean, presumably got double jumped there with a little bit of dose of DRS, but Matthew Adler there, as you can see, ghosting, having a slight connection problem. Your pick for the front row, not having a great race so far, is it, Matthew?
No, not brilliant for Matthew, but we know what Matthew's capable of. It's obviously connection issues are never fun. I've had them many times before. Lost a race recently because I got disconnected by EA
Don't need
subs.
to tell me about your connection issues. I'm more than aware of it, mate.
Oh yes, I'm more aware of that as well. Yes, it's good fun. Oh, the memories.
Yes.
But yeah, Lillian right now still in control of the race as they have been for the last three. But I think today they're going to have their toughest challenge yet. This is definitely not going to be a cakewalk for the Alpine driver because Zlavenkovic has got something in him today, and I think he wants that Grand Prix victory that has eluded him so far this year and has eluded Mercedes this year as well.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I think it's only a matter of time before they do end up getting their win. I sound like a Lewis Hamilton fan, don't I? But it's only a matter of time. They've got the promise, they've got the potential, they've had the pace here and there, but it's never all quite worked. Sometimes luck hasn't gone their way. Sometimes the strategy's, not being too great. But I'm surely this is going to be one of their best opportunities here with the pace Timo is showing at the minute, as Camille is also looking to try and get the move done there as well. To the inside, it's going to get cast back to the outside. The space is still there. It's going to be applying the traction gently. We're already seeing Lillian start to struggle getting the traction down and just kind of getting forced into positions Lillian doesn't necessarily want to be in. And that's something we've not really seen so far here in Season 35 at F3. Lillian having to go to positions of a track that they don't want to defend on.
Yeah, and I wonder if these soft tyres are already ready to start to struggle in this race because at the moment Zlavenkovic was very happy to pull past there, and I think he's pulled the trigger, to be honest with you, because he's now pulled about 5/10 on Camille. Of course, we've got DRS. Zlavenkovic will not have DRS. You can see how quickly that will catch up. But here comes Lillian. It's going to go around the outside. No, surely not into the chicane. But no, also a little bit off camber there through the corner. Not exactly what they'd want. Lillian is struggling here, and I'm not sure why. But keep an eye on Mr. Thomas. He's now got himself up into P4. This is going to turn into a very interesting four-way fight for the lead. This is what we want to see in our F3 season this year. But at the moment, it seems to be that these four could be battling for the lead, but anyone could still win this race. Because look how close they all are, Josh. Camille is going to be taking the lead of the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. The Ferrari fans will go wild in the background as Camille now leads in Monza. But it looks like Zlavenkovic is going to have to settle for third as Lillian also gets the traction down. And I wonder if the graining phase had just appeared for the soft tyres. And now it is coming back to them, which does happen in this year's game. Zlavenkovic looking back down the inside, but doesn't go for the move. But Ferrari are leading here in Monza.
I know, it feels like it's been a while. I'll tell you that for sure. But I'll tell you what's going to be an absolutely brilliant indicator for when these soft tyres start running out of grip and start really struggling is going to be Thomas Laminen. When he's able to start making that gap to Tony Roche slightly more and catching up to these front four, realistically, he's going to be in a great window of opportunity. It'll be a great factor for us to decide when those soft tyres are going to go off and when also the mediums are going to go off for Timo as well. Because we keep mentioning these soft tyres are going to go off eventually, but so are Tima's mediums in comparison to Thomas's hards. So it's certainly interesting to sort of try and figure out what sort of lap those soft tyres are really going to start struggling. But so far, it seems like we're all keeping it very well, and we've got this lovely little rotation for the lead, where it seems like P3 is always getting a jump on the race leader for P2. And they're just going to keep swapping backwards and forwards throughout the laps until someone decides to deploy a little bit of battery. But Nelson Alves, the first soft tyre runner into the pits after 8 laps.
Yep, and Lillian has retaken the lead. Zlavenkovic looked to take second place, but didn't actually commit to the move fully there. As you said, Nelson is into the pits. He's actually got his medium tyres on now, which means it is our first soft runner going to the mediums. Bogdan's made himself up into 9th place now, ahead of Mr. Andreas Lopez, who again had a spin at the start of the race, but just proving how close these drivers are. He's already back into the top 10, proving that even a little spin, you should never give up in the race. It's always possible to come back. But at the moment, Zlavenkovic in third, and he is in DRS range. Lillian is now 6/10, almost 7/10 ahead of Camille. I wonder if Lillian's decided that it might be time to, stop messing about, trying to check out from this race. But if you're in DRS around Monza, there is no checking out to be had. You are basically stuck with these cars for a long, long time, unless you have, I think it's like you need like a second more pace than the car behind if they have DRS. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and even then, you're really pushing most tyres through that middle sector, where there's not, as proficient of a DRS compared to the first or the final sector. So it's going to be a tough one to really try and break out the DRS, but more cars are diving into the pits, and it's all the soft tyre runners. I believe they're going to be trying to hop over to the mediums and make it a one-stop, which would lead me to believe that some of these hard tyre runners might be trying to hedge their bets on the safety car here.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I could see them using the soft tyre, considering how long it's already gone. It's only gone 10 laps into this race. So I imagine we're going to see the hard runners move on to the soft tyres. As we obviously see both Astons have now pitted and Lefted is in the pits onto the hards. Interestingly enough, I believe he started on the softs, didn't he?
Yes.
So he's gone soft hard, not soft medium. So unless he doesn't think the mediums can get to the end of the race, it'll be interesting to see how that pays out for him. But in terms of standout performances right now, I've got to say Thomas is mightily impressive. He's stuck with the start of the race. I know he's lost 2 positions. Sixton, obviously, we know how quick he is. We've seen him race a few times now. He's gone up 9 places, I believe. He's up into 6th place.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has been a fantastic race for him. Thomas is definitely the dark horse of this race. On those hard tyres, in the top 4. He started on the front row. He's clearly got pace around here. We've seen Red Bull win a few Italian Grand Prix to Josh's dismay. Can he win another one here?
I wouldn't mind if Lambden wins one. It's when, we get Seb winning. Over and over again. And Max over and over again. But enough of me living through my trauma as Camille takes back the lead for the Tifosi and the Ferrari fans adoring, cheering on. There's a lot of Italian flags in the grandstands. I'm sure they're cheering for Camille. Convinced.
They've got to be.
But Lillian certainly isn't going to be cheering for Camille. We'll start actually pushing him through the corner. Now, making an overtake going into this first chicane here around Monza is practically a death sentence, as you said. How many times have we seen Lewis Hamilton try and go too wide there? And one of them ends up getting bumped on the wheel and has to take the escape road. So, Lillian choosing the wise decision, just waiting behind, putting a little bit of pressure on Camille. But it doesn't look like Camille is too invested in trying to push these soft tyres all the way to the edge. And doesn't mind taking it a little bit easier through the Lesmos as Tima catches them slightly. But Lillian certainly wants to get a move done. Uses a little bit of ERS there with the help of DRS going through that little under the bridge section.
Surprising, that.
It's beautiful. But yeah, Lillian does not want to wait behind Camille. Just want Camille to start holding him up. Which I believe
is there a bit of frustration there?
Potentially, but I feel like that's surely got to be Camille's plan. Try and hold up Lillian a bit. Make your pit stop count. Get a bit of fresh air. Get the undercut sorted. Job done. As we're going to see them all filing into the pit lane.
Oh!
Never mind. I shouldn't have said anything. We've got a safety car.
Oh my!
They certainly piled into the pit lane.
Camille. Oh no!
Yeah.
I've got no words.
Neither do I.
How has that happened?
I'm not sure.
Oh, my God.
Well, braking point, dirty air, perhaps, affected a braking performance of Camille's car.
This has changed this race up a bit.
I'll tell you what. I'll let you go be Ted Kravitz and have a little explore on the Discord chat and see what happened to Camille.
Oh no, I don't think I want to know what's being said in there. I'll have a look.
Go explore for the minute while we do have this safety car period, because that was something else. I'm not sure it was necessarily a skill issue, Matthew and chat. I'm not too sure about that one. We'll wait and see. But so far, these drivers now, they're free to push to the Delta and try and get a cheaper pit stop. So your thoughts go out to the likes of Nelson Alvarez, Lillian, Tima, Yane, Lefted, Sixton as well, who have already all made their pit stops and are more than likely going to be potentially vulnerable to some of these cars.
They're not going to get overtaken because of the because they didn't catch the safety car. So everyone is currently in the Delta.
Yes.
So everyone's diving into the pits now. Hopefully no one will do what Camille did. The question is, who will come out in the lead of this race?
Oh.
It's not going to be Leo Lund because he got a 5-second time penalty for a severe collision with Mr. Bogdan coming into the pits. The Tifosi have fallen apart here in Monza. How many times have we said that? They're screaming from the heavens.
Alex, I'm going to be crying from the heavens in a minute, mate. Can we please?
Lillian leads.
Yeah, Lillian leads. Nelson on the
Nelson's into second. It's on news media.
Tomas Laminen's going to file himself out in P3 just about.
Ooh, just about ahead of
We're not having a
Blinkovic.
Sergio Perez George Russell incident where both of them are fighting for the same piece of track. They've sorted it out between themselves, so that's good. No confusion there. But do we have an understanding of what's happened, Alex?
I'm not entirely sure. I didn't see anything from Camille. I think he's probably taken a moment to collect his feelings, but he hasn't posted anything. It's probably something that yeah.
Probably something that probably doesn't want to watch again then.
I wouldn't want to watch it again.
Well, it's a good job we don't have a replay feature for this week. Thought, hey, turn 1 Monza, we won't need a replay feature. Everything's gonna happen. Everyone's gonna be, organised, single file from there. But looks like we've had a little bit of an incident in the pit lane there. Is it gonna be our only incident? I've drilled this into you, Alex, by now. Surely, you know what the saying is.
Safety cars lead to safety cars.
Absolutely. When one comes out, another one's going to come out in a matter of time. But the question is, who will it be? Because at the minute, I'm seeing Thomas Laminen on a fresher set of mediums than the 2 cars in front. Is there a potential there for Thomas to really get a jump? As the safety car's coming in this lap, you can tell.
I don't know. This is crazy. Thomas has the freshest tyres.
Yes.
Levenkovic has the softest tyres.
Yes.
Nelson has the oldest tyres.
You're absolutely correct, and they're all in the top 4.
And they're all in the top 4. And Nelson, I imagine when he came out of the pits, he wasn't expecting to be in second place. But that's where he's ended up. If I was Nelson, go for it. Send it into turn 1, see what happens. That's what I'd do.
Oh, Lillian there with a restart. Only pulling a
he's caught him.
Put Nelson in a horrible situation as Thomas Laminen now is going to be looking to make the move down the inside, head into T1, but also keep an eye on Timo, who's going to have so much more braking performance on those soft combat of time, but there's just nowhere for him to go. He can't make it 3 wide there, knowing that it will cause another incident, so he just decides to sit back for the minute and wait. Try and find his opportunity as he moves to the inside, almost goes on the grass to try and get past Nelson, but this is when Lillian's got to try and book it, and unfortunately for Lillian, it looks like Thomas Laminen has their number. Going to be catching back up. Back to that 3/10 mark. It's getting tight. It's getting tough. It's getting rough, especially towards that P10 mark of the field. All of them are squabbling for every single bit of track position they can get. They're fighting like there's not 12 laps left of this race, Alex.
They're fighting like it's the last lap of the Grand Prix. Leo's got to get past Lefted. This is the truly train from Lefted, as Levenkovic has got straight past Thomas there on those soft tyres. Not surprised. He's got to make them work, and he's got to go catch Lillian, the race leader. This could be their chance to try and stop Lillian from winning this Grand Prix. The safety car seemed to have helped both Levenkovic and Lillian. I thought it was going to hinder them, but it's helped them greatly in this race. Such a shame we've lost Camille, because that's taken away one of the challenges for the leader this race 100%. But let's see what we can do. We're on to lap 16 of 27. Leo Lund in the background there gets in front of Lefted, the only Ferrari left in this race, but with a 5-second time penalty, there's obviously a chance that could be removed. What is going on there? Leo defending aggressively, and actually Lefted's got back in front of him. He's going to dive up the inside, but what a move from Lefted, but he's got to leave room for Leo on the outside. It's getting a bit scrappy here in the middle of the park, but he's got in front of him, and so is Andreas Lopez. Leo Lund is in no mood this afternoon to yield to anyone. I'm sure that 5-second penalty has put him on the wrong side of the bed, but also his teammate being out has also annoyed him. He's got to try and do his best here at Monza.
I feel like it's all your Tifosi comments as well as wound him up just a little bit. You keep coming
wound me up.
It's wound me up. And I'm not even racing for Ferrari here today. But we've got to keep an eye on this front battle. We see the gap slowly starting to form, but we will have to be reminded that DRS will be open in the coming laps once again, so we can expect to see this Constina effect just slowly spreading the drivers out, slowly getting closer and closer once again, once the DRS comes out and having those 3 wide battles going down into turn 1 once again. I feel like it's only a matter of time before that happens, and I believe it might only be a matter of time before Timo can really start using those soft tyres to their full advantage to try and make any sort of move happen on Lillian, maybe going down into turn 1, maybe through sector 2 if he's feeling very brave, or maybe through Parabolica for maybe a very audacious last minute move where he feels like he's got the grip to pull it off. But we see Tony Roche in the background there, absolutely sent one. He's trying to hang it around the outside of the Aston Martin of Yane, and what an overtake by Tony Roche, taking no prisoners on those fresher medium compounds. Great move from the Haas driver.
Tony Roche, that was bold, it was brave. That was Daniel Ricciardo-esque, if I must say, down the inside, and he had no fear going for that move at all. And now he's up into P5. He's got Nelson in front of him, who's on an older set of medium tyres, now on 7 laps old. Is Tony Roche an outside chance for a podium finish this afternoon?
Potentially. I mean, if you think any sort of incident happens with these front 3 drivers, there's surely got to be a chance that Tony Roche is going to be able to put himself in the picture of the podium. Realistically, I mean, we've already seen it happen once with Camille. One of our front runners, ends up DNF'd and safety car comes out. So there's, dare I say, there's an ample of chance for this to happen again to the likes of Tomas, Timo and Lillian up at the front here. As we can see, the DRS is activated and you can already see those intervals shrinking sector by sector at this point. And it wouldn't surprise me if we're going to see it shrink even more coming down this straight with the DRS open for Timo and Thomas trying just to catch up and reel Lillian's Alpine back into the picture.
He's going for it. He's going for it. Is he close enough? He's not going for it yet. He's sticking in that DRS, but not going for it. But the man who is going for it is Leo Lund. He's trying to go for the same move. He's lunged up the inside, and has he pulled off like Tony Roche did? He's still up the inside. Leo is in full attack mode here for Ferrari, but he can't seem to get past Jane like the same way Tony did. He's still on the outside. This is not going to end well. It's about 4 wide. It's not the move that Lewis Hamilton wanted, and he's been pushed across the grass and across the traps. He's surely got to go. There's a yellow flag. Jane's been spun round. Oh, is it too bold from Leo? We've seen that move never pay off. He's clearly in a frustrated afternoon, but it was risky.
It was risky, but I feel like sometimes you got to go for those risky moves to try and get some sort of momentum building, but potentially a bit too risky. I think so. I'm sure the stewards will have a good look at that one to try and understand what happened, because obviously
A shame for Jane.
It wasn't just the 2 cars involved. There was many more involved in that little squabble, including Andres Lopez behind. So it'll be interesting to see who the stewards decide to put to blame for that one. But something else the stewards might want to take a little look at is the amount of pace Thomas Labanon has, because he seems to be absolutely out of his world on these medium compounded tyres. He's already trying to make the move before the DRS even gets open. He's already got it sorted. But Timo Zelenkovic now is going to get the effect of a double slipstream. We've got Nelson behind on the old medium tyres. We've got Tony Roche as well, trying to put up a fight there, trying to make it potentially 3 wide on Timo, which realistically, I don't think either of us saw happening.
No, this is a chance for Tony. He might win this race. He really does genuinely have a chance to win it, because Lillian can't pull away. Thomas is still in effect. Zelenkovic's tyres will go shortly. Will Zelenkovic's tyre get to the end? That's the question. It'll be cutting it close. As look at Leo, he's trying to go for a move into the first Lesmo. And Leo's still in this race. I know he's got that 5-second time penalty, but if he can get it removed in the race, obviously we might have other incidents involved with the Aston Martin or whatever. But again, there's still an outside chance of everyone winning this race, to be honest with you. You never know.
Yeah, it really feels like you cannot put a name to it, as Rihart had a little look to the inside there of Andres Lopez, decides to back off and save it for the straight. But you can already see this gap just slowly closing between all the drivers. It's closing more and more each lap, until we're going to end up having those squabbles, which are really going to start holding up the cars behind. We'll get the truly train formed once again, and we'll be able to see some very bold overtakes, trying to overtake 2 or 3 cars going down the one straight. And that's the sort of tight, compact racing they have here at PSGL in F3. All the drivers are so similarly paced, but it creates some interesting, intense, and fantastic racing, as we see Andres Lopez swerving all over back in Nelson Alves, trying to find any sort of wiggle room, try and get a move done as Leo Lund takes it round the outside. Lopez puts it round the outside once again of Nelson, and Nelson's really starting to struggle on those medium compounded tyres, being out there for 10 laps on them. Surely they're going to be on their wits' end right now.
Yeah, you can see the lights flashing on the back of both their cars. They're under 10% battery. Oh, Rahard's down the middle. There's no room there, Rahard's. There was no room at all, my friend. And he's still battling with Nelson, and Nelson's had to go over the curbs as well. Oh, that was aggressive from Rahard's there as he goes through the middle. A lot of people frustrated here this afternoon.
It's a beauty of Monza, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's never always going to go your way, but keep an eye. You can see on the steering wheel, Tony Roche deploying his ERS. He's still deploying it, despite having very little left. So he's in the hunt to try and get this move sorted on Zelenkovic so he can settle into his own rhythm and try and follow the front two.
Leo's there.
But Leo, Tony had a bit of a rough exit, so Leo is right on the back of him here, and he's going to be looking to try and get a move down into Parabolica, or is he going to save it for a dive down into turn 1? If I was in Leo's seat, I'd wait for turn 1, and it looks like Leo's doing just that, just holding on to the bread for now, before he decides to try and serve a bit of dinner.
I like that one. Oh my goodness me, where's Thomas Run gone? He's gone to the right-hand side, but down the inside, surely he's going to go for the move. What has happened there? I don't know if Lee has gone for one hell of a defensive swipe, but but Thomas was miles to the left-hand side of the track. What a weird shot that was by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think a little bit of defensive driving, and Thomas thought that maybe Lillian made the one move down the straight and already pulled to the inside there, and just thought it could be said and done, but it just didn't have the pace without the use of slipstream or battery going down into turn 1. It's a very tough one to really try and be able to pull off when you don't have those facilities. Big man.
Big man.
Well, that's what they say when you don't have
That's
facilities.
what
Big man.
that's what the kids say these days.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, Thomas is lacking ERS as well. I don't know what Lillian's running ERS wise, but low as well. They are both fully pushing here. This is no one's caring about ERS saving nowadays. This is the full push mode. Everyone's dumping. Everyone's using all of it. And can anyone actually get in front of each other? This is the thing. 5/10 now as we go through the helicopter camera down towards the Parabolica. What a camera angle this is. Can we have this every race, please? EA, this would be fantastic. As we see them go through Parabolica and now down the back straight, DRS will be enabled, and it's not been a great exit from Tumas as he's now going to fall down to possibly 3rd place as Levenkovic is going for it with that double slipstream, but can he pull to the inside defensive right until the end? And Lillian's always going to have a Mercedes into them, but no, not on this occasion. But Tony Roche, out of nowhere, has pulled himself into 3rd place, and now he's got the opportunity to pull himself into 2nd. Lillian will be loving this battle behind because it means they're slowly losing touch with the Alpine driver as Leo looks to go for a move. Tony, where have you come from in that one? He's up into 3rd. He's ahead of Slavenkovic.
And it looks like he's going to be trying to apply a bit of pressure to Muslamina as well. We do have a couple of comments in the chat saying that ERS looks bugged. I do have to agree with you there. It looks like it's permanently turned on and stuck at 10% for a lot of these drivers.
It is a bit odd.
I suppose battery's going to be a bit of a mystery, but we will be able to see when drivers are out because of a red flashing light. Hopefully that's not bugged, so we can at least get a little bit of intel on who's deploying where and how much they'll have left. But I can imagine some of these drivers are going to have at least a tiny bit stacked up for these last couple of laps, because that's where we're going to see these late moves. As we see Thomas Laminon moving to the left-hand side, Lillian sweeping that cover off, just making sure that there's no funny ideas coming from Thomas to try and make a very late move into Parabolica. But you'll notice that Delta is climbing once again to the rest of the field, getting spread out slightly from 4th to 5th, but it's just shooting back down immediately straight after that corner, isn't it? The soft tyres might not necessarily have the grip to make that sorted, but Leo Lund is going to try and take every single bit of opportunity to try and get a move done there, but doesn't look like that was going to work out. Soft tyres still just have enough grip on their surface to keep him ahead coming out of turn 2, but Andres Lopez is right there as well. As you mentioned, Alex, it'll be very tough, and it'll be a very brave move for Leo to try and send one down the inside. There's not enough space there. Timo gave him just enough room, but not enough for him to make the overtake work. And this is going to, of course,
he's out of second
for Zelenkovic, which could put him in a huge amount of trouble for this one. Realistically, Tony Roche might have been given God's gift here. Maybe an early Christmas present. Maybe he was on the nice list.
He must have been on the nice list. That was, to be fair, you got to give respect to Slavenkovic and Leo there for both going in to that chicane too wide, because it really doesn't end well normally. We've seen it go wrong in this race today, but look how many cars are close together here. This is the issue when you pull out the DRS. Slavenkovic is going to be a sitting duck down the main straight. To be fair, I think they all are, as Andreas is having to defend and attack at the same time. Zelenkovic has got himself back into DRS, but he's 9/10 back from Tony Roche, who's only 2/10 back from Thomas. We've seen him do the moves before. Is Tony going to go for it here? Is he going to go for the one? Is he going to go for the two? Tony thinks about one of them, but he's not. He's too far back on this occasion. He's not going to dive it from there. I would have loved to see it, but it would have been bold, and it would have been a very, very brave move.
Save it for the last lap. That's what I'm saying, Tony. You saw Thomas had a great run on Lillian there as well. Thomas backed out of it too. I think they know they've got the pace to overtake Lillian. They know that using that DRS and just managing it and keeping within, you know, those 0.4 of a second can give you an ample of an opportunity to make the move down into T1. And I feel like they're just going to be trying to wait it out until the right opportunity to make that overtake. We saw it around Austria, where they made a move for the lead a little bit earlier, and Lillian was able to get them back on the last lap. We're looking for maybe a repeat there for Lillian. Maybe Lillian might play it a bit tactically. Maybe might let them through on the second to last lap just to ensure that they can get the DRS, so they can really try and mount a challenge to retake the lead on the last lap, just for a little bit of security. But it's when you start playing these sort of games, that's when it can be a little bit rough and can definitely backfire. But Tony Roche, where's this pace come from?
I don't know. It's ridiculous. I've not seen. We've seen glimpses of what this man can do here in F3 and in Monza today. Sometimes it's not only the Temple of Speed, it's the Temple of Dreams. We've seen so many people pick up a famous victory here in Monza, and it could be Tony Roche's afternoon to do the same. But he is an intelligent driver as well. He's not going to go for this move. He knows when his opportunity will come, and it will come within 2 laps to go. We are on lap 25 of 27 in a thrilling Italian Grand Prix here at Monza, which has seen the most dramatic of circumstances, and one of the Ferraris out after crashing into the pit lane. And you heard that right, folks. He crashed into the pit lane entry, and now with 2 laps to go, any one of our top 5, top 6 could still come across this line and win the Grand Prix.
Yeah, I just want to point out as well, the amount of time that Zelenkovic has been able to gain. You can see him here on the camera, already right back up behind Tony Roche. That 0.9 of a second, absolutely gone.
Gone
it was
in a
pointless.
second.
Why was the gap there to begin with? Because he's right back on the rear of these cars on those soft compounded tyres. Yes, they're softer. Yes, they have the same weight as the mediums, but he's able to keep it going. And we saw a car go just a little bit wide. Did you have any idea of who that was?
It was Rahad's. Rahad's almost went straight through the advertising board there. That was close. Obviously, he's running with that 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. Now, this is the interesting moment. Is Lillian going to be able to play smart? He's surely got to try and back off and let these guys pass, because otherwise it's going to be a DRS frenzy on this last lap. But no, Tony Roche says, screw that, he's going for it. Is he going for the move? He can't go for it on this occasion. He looked to the inside. He was thinking about a dive round the outside, but surely he'd know that would be the race lead gone. He's got to use both these drivers as a slipstream. We are on the penultimate lap here at Monza. Anyone could still win this Grand Prix. I don't know who your money's on.
I'll tell you what, my money's on Thomas as well, because he didn't open his DRS down that.
No, he didn't.
Down that straight. He was deliberately keeping it shut so he didn't overtake Lillian. So unless Lillian's able to absolutely bucket through this sector here and try and make a slight bit of a gap, Lillian is really, really trying, cranking that Alpine all the way to the limits of its potential. But Thomas is still there. He's still within 0.5, so that's going to keep coming down. We've got this little DRS straight here going underneath the bridge before the Ascari chicane, and Thomas is right back in it. Lillian's surely going to have to battery dump coming out of Ascari. Surely that's got to be their opportunity right now to try and make some sort of gap before Thomas gets that DRS, opens it, and tries to make the move, potentially going down the inside of T1. That would be my prediction. But of course, you know, we open up the DRS there, and Tony Roche will also get the effect of a double slipstream, and it's both DRS open as well. So, you know, Tony could have an absolute of a wonder of a run. But Thomas here is going to be looking to try and make the move. You can see the DRS is open now. He knows this is his opportunity. He moves it down to the inside. Nice and easy as you like. And Tony Roche is going to be looking to try and follow it through as well. Very late on the brakes. A bit of contact there with Thomas as well. Bit more contact with Lillian. But he's got the move done. But Timo Zelenkovic here as well is right on the back of Lillian. Timo knows this is his opportunity going down into the chicane. He's got to pick the right braking point on this soft compounded tyre. Right at the back of Lillian. Lillian's still gaining just a little bit on Tony Roche. But Timo is unable to make the move there, as we see a couple of moves going down the field there with Ivan Santamaria and Wilson Hall fighting for position. The Alfa Romeo's having a ding-dong battle. But I feel like it's only fair if we keep an eye on the lead here, because this could still all change depending on the battery level of these drivers.
One DRS zone left, and then the run down to the Parabolica. We're going into the Ascari chicane now. Tony Richet is in second place, and Thomas is leading. Lillian has got a bit deep there.
Oh!
There's a Mercedes off the road. He's completely cut the Ascari chicane. He's missed his exit, and Leo has pulled in front. He's up into fourth, even with that 5-second time penalty. But we keep an eye on the lead of the race. It's Thomas, it's Tony Richet, and I think for the first time this season, Red Bull will stand on the top step of the podium as he wins in Monza. Tony Richet finishes in second, Lillian in third, Zelenkovic in fourth, Andres Lopez in fifth, Bogdan in sixth, Ivan in seventh, in eighth, Sixton in ninth, and Wilson Hall rounds out your top 10. Oh, Leo falls down to 13th, Rahad's down to 12th, but there is your race winner, the Red Bull driver. Thomas has taken a famous victory here at Monza. And Wilson Hall picks up driver of the day. But goodness me, I've got to give it to Tony Richet as driver of my day.
Absolutely.
That was insane.
That's a phenomenal race from all of these drivers. Carlson saying that Leo's pen's going to be removed as well, so potentially P4 for Leo there. I'm sure the stewards are having a look at that one.
Yeah,
but fingers crossed for
so.
Leo's sake, it is removed. Don't like to see results being decided by penalties. As you can see, the default Tifosi members there, just give them a red shirt, and the Ferrari fans. That's what we're going for here, but suppose they're not going to be too best pleased about the result, but it is a Red Bull on top here. Brilliant work there from everyone, to be quite honest with you. It was fantastic.
Yeah, what a race.
I can't. The amount
What
of
a
overtakes we
race.
saw there, it was just something else. Backwards and forwards, the use of DRS, the use of staying out of the DRS and you know, holding it up and picking your opportunity. Thomas Laminen, fantastic racecraft. Tony Richet as well, trying to find an opportunity and muscling his way through to get that P2. Great work. Lillian did everything right, and he got to the final couple of laps, and it just went all backwards. It's so unfortunate for Lillian, but a fantastic race nonetheless. And I'll tell you something, we wouldn't be able to have this fantastic race unless it was for our sponsors at GT Omega for being able to put this one on. What a race. I know we're wearing Christmas costumes, but I feel like it definitely came early this year.
It did, yeah. Monza always famously pulls out a banger. Sometimes it brings a ball fest, but most of the time we get bangers of races. I think it was fantastic. The Temple of Speed delivered once again, and we have another victor this season in F3. Lillian's streak is broken. We have another constructor taking the win in Red Bull. And I think not only did Red Bull need that, but I think also I think that the drivers needed that as well. That was important for Thomas.
Absolutely, confidence boost heading, you know, just before the winter break as well. Obviously, we've got the one more race which I'll pull up on the calendar for you, lovely ladies and gentlemen at home, so you can get a better understanding of how the calendar is formatted. Of course, we've had Monza today, and then it's to Singapore, a very different sort of track. Before we have the holiday break, and we rejoin back on January 4th. So it is definitely a much needed, you know, confidence booster for that Red Bull outfit and that Red Bull team here at F3, just to try and carry the, you know, the momentum into next week around Singapore, which is a completely different track. It's a different animal, it's a different beast. And then towards the Christmas break, because that's when, you know, a lot of these drivers are going to be taking a little bit of downtime, a little bit of a rest, and try and reprogram themselves to come back into the game. And being able to do that on, you know, a higher morale is going to be so much easier. So that's why all the drivers are going to be looking to try and end this, you know, these last 2 weeks before the winter break on a high in comparison to, you know, sort of the rest of the drivers who might be, you know, feeling a little down in the lumps.
Right. I have our race winner in the waiting room, so I'll bring him in.
Let's get him in.
We gotta get Lillian today. I don't think Lillian had to go somewhere, and I don't know if Tony Richet is joining, but we'll bring in our race winner anyway.
Tomas, congratulations on the first win for Red Bull for F3 this year, mate. around Monza of all places as well. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel great. Thank you.
Feel great. I mean, there was so much which went on in there, mate. How did you like decipher it? We saw you was not using the DRS on the last couple laps as well, just to make sure you didn't overtake Lillian, so you had the DRS for that final lap. Was that all planned, you know, if you were in that position before the race started, or was it on the fly thinking from yourself and your engineers?
Yeah, I always want to be like, if it's going to the last lap, I want to always be P2 because it's better.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And with the tyre management as well on those hard tyres at the start, you were the only driver on the field which seemed to get them fired up and working in a decent enough window to really be able to keep pace with the soft tyres. How were you able to do that, man? I mean, that was incredible.
I don't know. I guess I just had like good pace at this track.
Just built different.
Yeah.
Don't blame me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a fantastic result. I'm sure Alex has got an ample of questions to ask you about how you can get the hard tyres to work, because he's useless.
Yeah, I'm bad at the hard tyres. But what I wanted to do, obviously, you put it on the front row. In the wet conditions, obviously, they were incredibly tricky wet conditions, but you were the last one of pretty much the drivers to put a competitive lap time on the board because the rain came down a lot harder right at the end of the session. Were you running any different setups, or were you running a completely dry setup in qualifying? Did you like change it at all, or was it still just prepared for the race?
It was like maybe more towards the wet side of the setup.
Okay.
So yeah,
And that seemed to pay off in the end.
yeah, I guess so.
Absolutely. It was fantastic work, mate. So, I suppose this leaves a question now. Because we know Singapore's next on the calendar, and it's a slightly different track. How do you feel like you're going to fare around Singapore?
I don't know yet if I will be racing, to be honest.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. But if you are racing, what's your opinion on Singapore? Do you like it as a circuit?
I think it's pretty bad. Maybe one of the worst on the calendar, to be honest.
ooh,
I have to be in agreement with you. I hate it. I hate driving it.
I love it, but that's just me because I'm a psychopath.
Yeah, you're a
But
weirdo.
I love pain.
But yeah, no, I mean, congratulations to us. That was fantastic, and it was fantastically put together race and qualifying session. And yeah, well done on the win here in F3. Fingers crossed you
Thank
are
you.
able to make it for next week, and fingers crossed you have a great result again. But if you're not, I hope you have a brilliant winter break, mate, and
Yeah.
enjoy all the festivities. But thank you very much, and congratulations once again, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
Lovely bloke.
Lovely guy.
Lovely.
Very nice chap.
Honestly,
Well-
we're spoiled.
But that unfortunately ends our interview segment.
It
But-
does.
We will be back, ladies and gentlemen,
Next week,
next week,
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Same time, same commentators, unfortunately.
Same place.
And same place. Yeah. Well, actually, we got to go to the North Pole now, so we got to go get some presents going.
No,
'cause
I have
it's
to. You're still not Santa. Okay?
No, I am Santa this year.
Nah.
You won't find the other
When
one.
Connor gave us these outfits, I was really under the impression that he would have given you an elf one instead of a Santa one.
He gave you an outfit.
Yeah.
I just. Did we not have to?
No,
Oh.
she told me to wear the elf outfit, and then after the stream, go to the workshop and start making.
Yeah, but
toys.
I met a guy who looked like Santa, and I, borrowed him for a while, so I could have his hat.
Well, I was told I might be going to making some GTO Mega chairs.
Well, I hope so.
Me too. To be fair.
I guess I gotta let that guy out then, haven't I? Because that might be actually
Yeah.
Santa.
Yeah, I hope you let him out. But let's quickly move on and say thank you
Yeah.
everyone for coming and watching and taking part as well. It's been fantastic around Monza. So thank you very much. Same time, same place. You know where we are. You know us by now, and we'll catch you next time for a little bit of racing action around Singapore. Not too sure how it's gonna go, but it'll be a fun one to find out. Until next time, guys. Ciao.
Bye bye.
Singapore's desperately trying to hang on. He's got the inside, but up here he's through on the left-hand side. Pumps the apex, gets on Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the GOAT is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.